Everybody, Tom back for Animuscle. I hope you're all alright. I'm in my bed again, apologies. I've had a bit of a rough week this week. Been off my food with a bit of a stomach bug. So the past 4 days have been very challenging for me. Typically have around 3,500 calories a day, and it's been dropping to nearly 1,000. Just massively lost my appetite, and I think it's my own fault for some fish I cooked. I think I cooked it wrong.
You slag!
So lost about 3 kilo in past 2 days. But that's not going to be anything major, probably just mainly water weight that's been lost. But yeah, what's brought it about is yesterday was possibly the hardest day I had of it. And I felt utterly shocking. Not in the fact that I was ill, but the fact that I was eating so little and I went working, and my expenditure meant I was trying to put out energy I didn't have, and I just completely crashed. Got in yesterday and I was in bed for nearly 13 hours, and the difference that sleep made to me, especially for today, and starting to feel a bit better, finally have a bit of food again. The only daft thing about this is that, if I ate this much normally, it'd be a lot better on my food bills. but yeah, it'd be a lot cheaper. But I like my food, so I hope it does come back my appetite. Hopefully it will. So yeah, this topic that I want to cover is about sleep. Sleep's incredibly important. Possibly one of the most important things in terms of training, lifestyle, overall health. It's got some major benefits to it. I've made some notes and I'm going to read them out to you because there's some very important things to bear in mind when it comes to sleep. So, obviously, it's naturally recommended you get between 7 and 9 hours sleep per night. It's if you increase your sleep time by 1 hour per night, it's like getting an extra night's worth of sleep over the course of a week. So typically, and I think this is what makes it hard, is we are consumed by phones, technologies, TVs, tend to keep us awake, So we neglect sleep because we think, I need to watch this, I need to keep up to date with that. And it's a bad routine to get into. Everything is driven towards being involved or being up to date with everything 24/7. It's not healthy for us. So the main thing is, especially people like me that lead an active lifestyle, and I'm sure many of you do, your growth occurs when you sleep. Okay? So when it comes to planning your workouts, you need to make sure that you are rested well enough between your workouts to be able to perform at your absolute best, basically. And the only way that you truly recover from workouts is by eating right, rehydrating right, and resting or sleeping right. So it's in them 3 pillars. It's incredibly important you sleep. So you need to do it as an absolute must to be at your absolute best. So the next thing to talk about is, as I mentioned previously, it gives you time for your muscles to repair. The growth hormone is an anabolic hormone produced during stage 3 of non-rapid eye movement, or NREM, or dreamless sleep, and helps us to repair tissues damaged during exercise. The longer a period of sleep, the more time gives the tissues time to regenerate and grow. So if you're looking to especially put on lean mass or mass in general, you need to sleep. There's absolutely no two ways about it. You can't compromise it. It's 100% needed. So, thirdly of all, a full night's sleep allows for the anabolic hormones to perform the function of tissue repair. So, obviously, insufficient sleep would result in high levels of the catabolic hormones responsible for energy production. And if you've been completely exhausted but couldn't fall asleep, or if you didn't sleep and yet you woke up not feeling completely rested, it could be the result of a higher elevated sympathetic nervous system, or SNS. Activity and higher levels of cortisol. The SNS releases cortisol, which helps convert free fatty acids into energy for exercise. However, when your glycogen is in low supply, cortisol can also convert amino acids into adenosine triphosphate, or ATP, which inhibits muscle growth. So that's the science you want for you there. Basically, it means get to sleep. The next very important one is if you're overly tired, and this is a general consensus one that people do tend to know. If you're overly tired, especially during exercise, it results in poor performance, poor reflex times, poor judgment. That's an absolute given, and it puts you at high risk of injury because obviously you're not performing at your optimal, I'd say, level. One important benefit of sleep is it allows time for the removal of unnecessary metabolic waste from brain cells. So you need to think of sleep as giving your brain a chance to remove unwanted waste from it, while also enhancing blood flow to your cells, bringing important oxygen and glycogen necessary for optimal cognitive performance. So you all know if you don't sleep right, you get like this brain fog, and we all had it, whether you were waiting for exams at school or you've had a poor night's sleep, you had something important the next day, and you just can't put two string from dots A to B together, or you can't remember what you had planned that day. Goes to show sleep's a massive, massive driver, and how you'll function in the following day or days if you miss sleep continuously. So another important point is metabolic overload causes when we put the muscles past the point of fatigue, which is what you can do if you do heavy training. And this exhausts the amount of glycogen available for energy production. And while you're sleeping, your body continues to digest carbohydrates, which are your main energy source for performing exercise. They're like the main, most readily available source of energy from your foods that you consume. From your diet, metabolize them into glycogen, which is then stored in the muscle cells to fuel muscle contractions. 1 gram. My English is terrible. 1 gram of glycogen in muscle cells can hold 3 to 4 grams of water, which, explaining why I've probably lost the 3 kilos is mainly from water weight. Less food, less carbs means less water being retained in my cells as well. So, and obviously this glycogen is replaced while you sleep. And glycogen is important as it helps increase muscle size, and that's how your muscles tend to grow while you sleep, from the glycogen stores being topped back up. So, in addition, big one, adequate sleep promotes optimal function of the immune system. So, we all know how important it is to not only be physically fit, but you need to also feel well in yourself to perform at your best. So, outside of traumatic injury, illness is the secondary leading cause of missed playing time for athletes. People at top level, it's the second highest reason. So, and no, you don't have to play sports to receive the benefits like athletes do. Sorry. No matter what your job may be, no matter what sport you play, if you're getting great sleep, it helps support a strong immune system, which in turn reduces the risk of you being sick and having less time off. So, like for myself, I've felt ill this week and it affected my performance, but I was sort of clever with it. I've not tried to exert myself to the point of not being able to do anything else. Obviously, working yesterday did knock me back a bit, but apart from that, the 13-hour sleep that I got totally got me up, and I felt so much better today. So much better. Still not 100% back on my food, but progress is progress, and it will hopefully improve over the next coming days. So yeah, to optimize your performance and be more productive, prioritize your sleep. And then one of the last ones to do is to ensure optimal performance during your workouts. It's great to plan your workouts based on the sleep you'll be getting each night, which I think is an important one. So if you know, I mean, I'd say, for example, this is a good one for people that say work away a lot. If you're working away and traveling around a lot for work, it's hard to say whether you're going to have a good night's sleep or not. If you're staying at hotels, B&Bs, I don't know, in mobile, like a caravan or a static, or, you're sleeping in the back of a van. If you're not going to be getting a good night's sleep, then you're not going to be able to perform very well regarding like an intense workout. So I would always say that if you are going to get not a great night's sleep, if you know you won't, then, and this is actually a big one, if there's a lot on your mind as well, if there's something on your mind that's playing and it's causing you a lot of insomnia, for example, try not to plan intense workouts for the following day, because you're going there with the goal of doing a hard workout. You probably won't be able to do it, or you'll probably do it in a much slower, and you'll not perform to how you might have thought you'd do it or how you've done it in the past, and that just knocks you down because you think that all of a sudden you've lost gains, or you've lost some sort of fitness, or you've got weaker, and it's not true. It's just a massive part of knowing that that's how important sleep and recovering properly can play on your next day's performance. So, for example, like me, if I was going to be doing something really intense following day, I'd be ensuring that I'd be going to bed even just a bit earlier than normal. Shutting my phone off a bit earlier, making sure that my head's on the pillow 10, 15 minutes before or half an hour before I'd typically aim to be, just so that I know I'm getting guaranteed a full good night's sleep. So it's incredibly important. Pay attention to it, guys, and make sure it becomes an absolute non-negotiable in your routine. Sleep is king for growth, recovery, and repair. So just as much as your diet is, sleep's one of these pillars that needs to be considered as incredibly important. And that's this one wrapped up. So hopefully you've learned something. I'm gonna eat this.
Treasure.
About one of the other things I've been managing to eat. And then head off to bed myself. So have a good one, guys. Stay strong. That's another one done, and we'll see you on the next one. Bosh.